My son collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. The call came like a blade in the dark. The school nurse's voice was trembling. "Your son collapsed during recess. We're rushing him to the hospital." My hands froze on the steering wheel. A soundless scream rose inside me, but outwardly I said nothing, just turned the car around, just drove. Inside the emergency ward, machines beeped, white coats circled, and I stood there, a man, pretending to be calm while my heart bled out through my ribs. I called my wife. She should have been there. She should have been running into the hospital with me, breathless, terrified, ready to hold our son's hand. But her voice, it came sharp, distant, layered with music and laughter behind it. "I'm at a private party with my boss. I can't leave. If he doesn't make it, call me after." Silence. I remember staring at the sterile white floor tiles, her words echoing in my skull like rot. My son was behind a curtain, fighting for breath, and she was sipping champagne in the arms of another man. That night, I made my decision. I packed my entire life into 2 suitcases. I took my son, and I vanished. She never called back. Not that night, not the next morning, not even a week later. At first, I waited, foolishly. I thought maybe guilt would drag her home. Maybe she would arrive at our door, tears streaking her face, begging to see her child. But she didn't. Instead, silence stretched across weeks, months, years. I learned to parent alone, to build a life from the ashes, to answer my son's questions about why mommy never came back. "Business trip," I told him at first. "Busy with work." And finally, I stopped making excuses. He grew stronger, his health stabilizing, but the scar was there. Not just on him, on me. In the quiet hours of the night, when the house hummed with the weight of unspoken truths, I replayed her words. "If he doesn't make it, call me after." I realized that night wasn't just about betrayal. It was revelation. The mask had slipped. She had chosen her world over her blood. And that meant something deeper was rotting beneath the surface. I started looking, quietly. Not because I still loved her, but because I needed to understand the disease that had consumed our marriage. Phone records I had kept. Credit card statements, bank transactions. They painted a story without her even speaking. Hotels on weeknights, restaurants 2 towns away, jewelry she never wore at home. She had been living another life long before that hospital call. But I didn't confront her. No, that would have been mercy. Instead, I built my silence into a weapon. I documented everything. Dates, receipts, photographs pulled from old email backups. Her face smiling with him, her boss, in ways she had stopped smiling with me years ago. And then I stopped. I didn't need more. I already knew. One night, I burned the file, every photo, every scrap of evidence. Flames licked away her deceit until only ash remained. But the truth had already carved itself into me. I carried it for 5 years. It was a Sunday morning when the past knocked again. A neighbor from our old street called. She didn't know I had left, didn't know I had disappeared. Her voice was hesitant. "I thought you should know. Your wife, she passed away last week." For a moment, time fractured. The world dimmed. I asked how. Silence. Then, carefully, she said, "Car accident." She wasn't alone. The words landed like a final verdict. Not just her death, but the fact that her double life ended with her, beside him, the man she chose over us. I hung up without saying goodbye. My son was in the other room, building Legos. He looked up, smiling. I smiled back. Calm, cold, detached. Inside, I felt something break free. I didn't attend the funeral. She had forfeited that right when she chose laughter and wine over her son's life, when she whispered, "Call me after," as if his breath was negotiable. But I did something else, something colder. I wrote a letter. Not to her, to him, the boss, the lover, the man whose name had been a shadow in my house long before I ever admitted it. I told him the truth he never knew, that she abandoned her son on a hospital bed for him, that when our child could have died, she chose his arms instead. I didn't sign my name. I didn't need to. I mailed it and never looked back. Revenge doesn't need fire. Sometimes it only needs silence sharpened into truth. 5 years had taught me the value of distance. She was gone now, buried beneath soil and secrets, and I was free. I didn't feel sorrow, not even hatred, just clarity. My son still asked about her sometimes. I gave him what little pieces I could, before she drowned herself in lies. I told him she loved him once. That was enough. But for me, the truth was clean, precise. She had chosen her world, and it consumed her. I had chosen my son, and he was alive. That was the difference. In the end, betrayal doesn't destroy you unless you let it. It destroys the betrayer. And when the grave closed over her, so did every chain she had ever fastened around me. I was no longer her husband, no longer her victim. I was simply free. She died with her lies. I lived with the truth.